I just want to start off by saying congratulations to all of you. What you guys did today was wonderful with all your fundraising and walking. You guys look great in your pink t-shirts. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my story today. I know the study has already heard my testimonial, but yeah, so bear with me. So like I said, my name is Shannon. I'm 27 years old, and about 2.5 months ago, I got diagnosed with stage 3 Hodgkin's lymphoma. Basically what that is, it's a type of cancer where I have a tumor in my left lung the size of a grapefruit. And I have inflamed lymph nodes that are the size of strawberries on my upper and lower diaphragm. I go through chemotherapy every 2 weeks, and when chemotherapy is done, I'll be going through radiation to make sure the tumor is completely gone. A few months ago, I thought I was living a normal life, but I was always really tired. I was going to doctor after doctor saying how tired I was, but I would always take blood tests and they would always come out fine. Then in May, I developed a cough that just didn't go away. And then I had really trouble breathing. So finally I went to go see a lung specialist who took 1.5 liters of liquid out of my left lung cavity. Just think, it's almost 2 milk cartons full of milk out of just one left lung cavity. We then took scans, and that's when they found the tumor in the lymph nodes. I then went to a surgeon who took a string of lymph nodes out from underneath my armpit. We did tests on those lymph nodes, and that's when I discovered I had cancer. Now, I know a lot of you guys are looking at me right now thinking, oh, she doesn't look like a typical cancer patient. She still has her hair. You know, I'm not very tired. But in fact, I do have cancer, but I consider myself to be very lucky. The reason I consider myself to be very lucky is because my journey with cancer actually started 7 years ago. 7 years ago, my mother was diagnosed with cancer. 7 years, the doctors gave my mother 6 months to live. She was diagnosed with small cell lung cancer from smoking all her life. And she fought the cancer as hard as she could, and she actually ended up living 4 times longer than what the doctors had given her, but unfortunately she passed away 5 years ago. Now, the reason I consider myself to be so lucky is because I was able to, at such a young age, witness such an inspirational woman. Just imagine sitting there and being given 6 months to live. How would you react? Well, not once did I see my mother cry. Not once did I see my mother scream, feel depressed, or anything. She was the most happy-go-lucky person I'd ever met. I think she realized that her days were numbered, so she decided that she was going to live life to the fullest. She decided that she was going to leave a positive impact on everybody she knew. So, and to be honest with you, I think that's one of the reasons why one of the reasons she lived so much longer was because she was so positive. Now, 7 years later, I'm diagnosed with cancer. So I know I have 2 options. Do I follow the path where I'm going to sit at home all day, feeling depressed for myself, sitting on a couch doing nothing? Or am I going to follow the path and use my mother as inspiration? So what I decided to do is say, you know what? For some reason, I'm meant to be a cancer survivor. I don't know why this has happened to me. I've always been very healthy. I was a competitive swimmer when I was younger. I've never smoked. I ate healthy. I exercised regularly. So to be diagnosed with stage 3 Hodgkin lymphoma was a huge blow. But for some reason this has happened to me, and you know what? I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to do with it now. But in the meantime, I'm not letting cancer stop my life. I got engaged 2 weeks before I was diagnosed with cancer. But I'm not letting cancer stop me from all my planning. You know, as young women, we dream about our fantasy wedding, you know, but we don't dream about having cancer at the same time. But I'm still doing all my planning. I'm still trying to find a dress, trying to find colors, all that kind of stuff. And even though chemo makes me very tired and it hinders me from doing certain things, I'm still trying to see my friends as much as possible. I'm still trying to see my family. I'm still trying to do everything that I did before I had cancer. I need to stop and say, cancer doesn't need to control my life. I control my life. I need to think of cancer as a hurdle that I need to jump over, and when all my treatments are done, I'm going to be that just much of a better person. A friend of me sent me a quote the other day by a guy named Charles Swindoll, in which I'd like to share a little bit with you, because I think it represents the attitude that I need to possess in a situation like this. It goes, "The longer I live, the more I realize the impact of attitude on life. Attitude, to me, is more important than facts. The remarkable thing is, we have a choice every day regarding the attitude we will embrace for that day. We cannot change our past. We cannot change the fact that people act in a certain way. We cannot change the inevitable. The only thing we can do is play on the one string we have, and that is our attitude. I am convinced that life is 10% what happens to me and 90% how I react to it." Now, that being said, another reason why I consider myself to be so lucky is because I know the cancer that I have has an 86% cure rate. That means out of 100 people diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, 86 people will survive it. And that's where you guys just played a part today. My cancer wouldn't have such a high cure rate if it wasn't for research. Research wouldn't be available unless there was funding. So all the efforts that you guys put in today, by walking, by raising money, all the efforts that you guys just did is helping me recover from my cancer. It's helping me fight my cancer. I went to Queen of Angels when I was in high school, and we participated in similar walks to this. But 10 years ago, we didn't have guest speakers come talk to us, and 10 years ago, cancer hadn't really affected my life yet. I didn't know anybody with cancer. So I didn't understand the impact I was making by fundraising and by walking. But I realize now, by doing all that effort in the past, that I was actually contributing to the research that is now helping my fight my cancer today. I'm contributing to the research that is helping me survive today. But your efforts don't have to stop at the walk today. There's so many little things you can do in your community, and I'll give you a small example. Every year, my fiance's brother runs in the 10K for the Montreal Marathon. And this year, when he found out I had cancer, he decided to email all of our friends and say, "Hey, you know what? Why don't you come run with us in support of Shannon?" 20 people who weren't originally supposed to run in the marathon came out and ran for Team Shannon. They had t-shirts printed up that said Team Shannon. They ran with them. There's actually some of the people here today with them on. If you want to look over there, they have Team Shannon on. Yeah. But the reason this is so inspirational to me is because half of these people that came out to run had never ran a marathon before, but they came out with the attitude by saying, you know what, if Shannon has to go through what she's going through, and if she can't run for herself, then we're going to run for her. And it's just small things like that that have such a big impact. They helped with my positivity, and knowing that people care about my well-being helps me want to fight my cancer just a bit more. So I'll leave you on this note. People fight cancer every day. They fight it for years and even decades. And like my mother, there's some people who lose their battle to cancer. But I know I'm not going to be one of those people. I know that in a year from now, at my wedding, I'm going to be sitting there saying, I won, I didn't lose. So when you guys were walking there, when you guys were walking today, and when you guys walk next year, whatever you guys want to do in your community, please stop and think about all the people that will be able to say the same thing, that they beat cancer because of everything that you've just done. Thank you.